Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. What does a mediocre outdoorsman,
3-shooting Cajun,
and an actual outdoorsman
have to say about what's going on in the world? Join us and find out.
in 3, 2,
kick it!
and you got to be careful when you're saying horror.
Because it sounds like
Horror.
correct. All right, welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. I'm your host this evening.
I got in trouble in school for it.
For what? Saying horror?
Yeah, I called this chick an absolute horror, and she said I called her a horror.
That's awful convenient.
And then I'm not joking either. And I got detention over it.
Oh, man, that is too funny.
And my mom had to go talk to the principal.
Horror. Oh,
I
man.
was like, you're an absolute horror of a woman. In third grade.
Third grade.
So you were like, how old's third grade? 7? No, 9-year-old?
I forget, but I've always had a pretty good vocabulary.
Oh, man. Anyway.
I just remembered that when you said horror.
Welcome again to the Hardheaded Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Trussell. This evening, or whatever time it is for you, so is that like something that people say nowadays when you're filming something? Like,
Whatever time it is for you.
yeah.
I don't know, but I don't like it.
I don't like
Just
it
so you
either
know.
because that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, because I'm on a lot of international conference calls, and they're like, good morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Yeah. It's like
That'll be
Truman.
Hey,
Whatever
everybody.
time- Whatever time it is
good
for you,
evening, and,
Yeah.
welcome.
and
Hello.
good night. Yeah.
Hello, I'm genuinely excited that we're able to be together right now.
Anyway, with me as always is Mr. Chet Sears and Mr. Matt Amos. On this episode, Chet is going to bring us a good word at the end. We're going to do top 3 death scenes in a movie. I'm interested to hear everybody's take on that.
I bet we're gonna get the same of all the dying that's ever happened in a movie. I bet we're gonna at least have one in common.
I went with the 3 that stuck with me the most.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see. And then we're going to start off with what is on Matt's mind. So Matt, take it away. What's happening?
So recently I've been doing a lot of shopping around for a project that I've been working on, which is a 1977 C10 Chevy. And as a part of that, you know, the benefit of having that vehicle is that there are so many options for parts, and everything's just so easily available. There's just a ton of stuff out there. So I've kind of turned into a Facebook Marketplace shopper. So I'll type in.
You've always done some of that.
Yeah, but not to this extent. And so, you know, I get on, I'm searching, you know, because you can find tons of stuff and, you know, and narrow it down. And it almost feels to me like some of these people just do not want to sell their stuff.
Oh, I would agree. My wife does a lot of this, or used to do a lot of this. She got so fed up with the people like saying they were going to meet her and not showing up,
Right.
or people just, what do they do if they're next in line? They type something in that's next in line. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I can't remember the phrase, but then people would like say they wanted it, and then at the last second be like, "Oh no, I changed my mind." Or when there's like 10 other people down the row, like, it's just so frustrating.
Right. So what if I'm one of those 10 people that's in line, or, you know, let's just say that there's no line and I'm calling you or I'm messaging you about your product. What would your response be? Like Troy, let's say that you've got this nice camera lens that's just sitting right there.
Yeah.
You're selling that. Okay. You've got it posted. And I ask you, hey, I'm interested in that camera lens there.
Is it available?
No, I never ask, is it available?
How
Because
much is it?
if it's those 2 questions are posted, but if I'm asking
No, but that's people are still going to ask it.
Yeah. People are going to
Not
ask
me.
it regardless of what's in the
Right.
What's the lowest
description.
you'll go?
yeah, Okay.
Yeah. Will you deliver it?
I've asked that myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
All legitimate questions, right? How would you answer those?
Listed in the description.
What if it's not?
Then I'd answer it.
I would
Would
just
you?
Or I'd update the description.
I would just answer the question if it wasn't in the description. Yeah.
Okay. And what if it was in the description and somebody was just wanted to get, didn't look real close and said, "Hey, I'm interested in this. Can you tell me more about it? Like, how much is this? Whatever." What would your response be?
I'd probably just copy and paste the description.
Would you say, "Here it is, dumbass"?
No, I wouldn't.
No,
Did somebody do that to you?
because you're doing what?
I'm trying to sell something.
You're trying to sell
You
something.
need to be
want-
nice to the customer. The customer's
Right.
always right.
I want their money. Yeah.
This is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the amount of people that I've asked because they either did not take good pictures. I can't tell because, a lot of these products are Missouri, Oklahoma, or Colorado. So I've got to put in drive time. I got to put in windshield time to come look at it. So I would like some better pictures and a better explanation before I drive all that way to come look at something. So if I say, "Hey, are the struts on the bed of this pickup? The support, the bed supports on the underside. Are they good or are they rusted out?" Well, you can see in the picture. I go, "No, you've got a picture of the top sides. Both. I want a picture of the bottom side so I know before I drive 4.5 hours if the bottom side of that is good or if it's rusted out."
Right.
Well, how about you just come down here and look at it? I'm like, and then get into my time. He told me that his time was valuable.
Like, I'm not going to go take a picture of that because my time's valuable.
I was like, but my time is valuable as well. I'm the guy that's going to have to drive 4.5 hours to come look at this thing. And then if it's not what I want, then I've wasted 8 hours of my time.
Yeah.
9.
So whatever, 9.
Yeah. Math.
I'm not a math guy.
He had good vocabulary when he was younger. Not good
not
math.
math. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, they are so inconvenienced to answer the simplest of questions. I don't care if 3,000 people have messaged you the same thing. If you're legitimately trying to sell that, you would answer that 3,000 times.
Yeah. Or update your posting with the answer to that question. If you get,
Just get more
Yeah.
detailed in your description so that it's all right there.
Yeah.
And then say at the end of that, if you have any other questions not covered in this description, feel free to ask.
yeah. But I also know that there are a bunch of idiots out there asking dumb questions.
So I get questions on my food posts sometimes, like, "Where is this?" It's in the description. Or, "How much was this?" Or,
Yeah.
it's usually all in the description. But I'll answer it again.
Right.
1, it's good for engagement. But
Yeah.
2, I'm a nice guy, I guess.
I guess. But maybe he had like 15 non-nice people, and then you came in and he was already triggered.
I mean, it could be. And what's funny is our conversation. I go back to look. He deleted all of it up until the point, like, "Right on, man. I apologize."
He didn't.
So
I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, so tell our listeners what went down.
So it turns out that we're like peas in a pod, right? Like, we're two very similar individuals. And so I'd asked this guy about some truck beds, and I was like, "Well, I can't see the bottom of them. Can you tell me?" And I've only asked 3 questions up to this point. I was like, "Are they still there? Are they for this year? And then are there, do you have," because on the C10, you have dual tanks, and then you have a single tank, and then you have square holes, you have round holes. And I was like, "I need dual round holes," is what I was originally looking for. And he goes, "Well, you could tell from the picture." I'm like, "No, I can't." I was like, "That's why I'm asking. Like, I just need some better pictures. You only got 3 or 4 pictures here." And I go, "There's 2 different beds. So I'm really only getting, and I'm not sure which one's which because they're all painted different colors and, it's not all perfect."
The same. Yeah.
And so I wish I could, it was deleted up to that point. So I wish I could read it because I can't remember exactly what was said.
He was like, "Come down here and look for yourself."
Yeah, basically, with some colorful language intermingled in there. And I said, "Well, how," I can't remember, but it got down to you come down and
because my time he gave you a dollar amount on his time. Like my time's worth like $170 an hour.
Yeah, something like that. You know,
he like threw out $1.
Wow.
Like, so if you want me to go out there, it's costing me $170 to go out there and take another picture because my time is valuable.
right, yeah, my time's this valuable. You know, and I was like, so you know, of course, at that point, you know, you go to the profile. And you look, and I'm like, you know, who am I dealing with here? Is this guy even legit? You know,
Right.
And I see that he's a mechanic. I'm like, okay, so like he's got, you know, these parts, whatever, and so then he said something about his time being really valuable and blah blah blah. And basically, at that point, I'm thinking, well, now you're devaluing my time, like, because you're wasting my time at this point.
Yeah, me going out and taking a picture is more valuable than you driving 9 hours.
Right. So and then I was like, okay, mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Just to jab it in there, right? And then he comes back and he goes, yeah, okay, Marine, you know, and then you know, started making. He goes, now I do appreciate your service, but and then
I hate your guts,
you know.
fool.
And he's like, I tell you what, why don't you come down here and he goes, we'll fight. And he goes, if I win, I pick the bed and $750. He goes, if you win, you pick the bed for free. And I was like, well, I don't have any legs, so you win. And then he goes, oh, I feel like a dick. You know? so I threw the no legs thing out there, right? And then all of a sudden, you know, it's like the whole conversation changed, and it was like, he's like, yeah, man. He goes, you know, I just got so many tire kickers and blah blah blah. And I was like, I get it, man. I go, but you're trying to sell something, you know, and I'm asking questions. I'm asking legitimate questions. I go, because I'm legitimately interested.
Yeah.
I've got 2 people that can maybe come look at it tomorrow. I said, but I don't want to waste their time driving an hour and a half to you. I said, I'm 4.5 hours away.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to waste their time an hour and a half driving to come see you if it's not going to work, because I don't want to have a whole lot of metal work to do. So anyway, we ended up, you know, laughing about it. I was like, turns out I was like, dude, we'd probably be pretty good friends in real life. Like that.
Yeah.
Legitimately, it sounds like we got kind of a similar attitude. I said, but I typically wait until I know a person to start in like you did. But, you know, it ended up being kind of funny, but I mean, you know, so we ended up getting along. But I don't know how many times I've clicked on a post or something like that, and the person's just being really rude in their description, like, I will do this, I won't do this, and don't be stupid and this and that. And it's like, you're trying to sell something on Facebook Marketplace.
In the defense of the seller, not this seller, he's an idiot. There are instances where you're selling like kids' clothes. And this is a size, 2,
right?
Old Navy shirt, 50 cents. And then somebody will reply back, well, is it running on the big size of size 2 or the small size of size 2? Like, don't ask that question. Like
50 cents.
Right.
Yeah.
Risk it. Just risk it.
Yeah.
Hey, and that's fine. But if they ask that question, say, hey, it's 50 cents. Come check it out.
Yeah. For 50 cents, you can find out yourself.
But don't say it that way.
Yes.
You're still trying to sell something. That's like me.
No, don't read it that way. I said it like, for 50 cents, you'll know.
You can come check it out.
Check it out.
All I'm saying is you're trying to sell something.
Everything is always read in a negative connotation.
That's true. 100% it is.
Yeah.
Unless you do like Chet with his little social experiment, you put the little happy face there, which doesn't affect my mood.
Yes, whatsoever. It does. I did it. I did it today, didn't I?
No, you didn't.
Yesterday I did it.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure. That makes a huge difference.
I don't think
Ladies and gentlemen, you can throw out all kinds of insults and text messages to people that you know, and you just put one of those roly laughing emojis at the end of it, and people think you're kidding.
Oh, I do it all the time. Now, I would, my wife got more and more cynical the more she sold stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
So
her descriptions got more and more like, hey, just come pick it up. I mean,
I will not answer questions for anything anything marked below $5.
I mean, yeah.
What are you saying?
So here's a conversation with Chet. Said, my box blade is 20 inches deep. It'd be full every 10 feet. And then you've got to pick up the excess and relocate it. And so then he gives me the eye rolling emoji.
I don't need your excuses.
I followed that up with skid steer buckets hold 4 of my bladefuls and it'll make an even pass. And he goes, I'll just do it with a walk behind tiller and a shovel since your tractor is trash. Then he does laughing emojis.
Because I still need his tractor.
But then I tell him, I was like, based on the scale of that area, good luck, bud. 'Cause
Didn't change your mind.
And then I give him a Biden. Come on, man.
come on, man.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
But, again, I mean, it just comes back to you're trying to sell something, be a good salesperson, be a good steward of your product. I mean, don't overvalue it.
Yeah.
You're not the only one out there because, if I've dealt with you for so long and then I don't get a good feeling, because a lot of that is just feeling a person out, before you go meet with somebody,
Yeah.
to buy something. Hey, what do I feel from this person that I'm texting back and forth with? Like, so I ended up, because that guy, that same guy, didn't respond to me for a day and a half. And I was like, I'm kind of looking this weekend because I got some guys down there that want to go look, so, and I'm not working out. So or he didn't get back to me in time. So, I ended up finding another one, and this guy is actually going to, do all the body work, sand it, put both square holes on, cause I ended up just doing the square holes and getting it paint ready. And he's actually going to trade me the bed that's on my truck. So, plus, I'm paying him a little bit of cash on top of that for the body work that he's doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, this dude's like super communicative, and he's probably going to stiff me. Watch, but because
And then we'll podcast about that.
yeah, because
Take that.
I sent him the check. I sent him a check for $500 to buy supplies and get all the stuff started and all that, and but the communication with him, I just got a really good feeling from him. He's been doing it for a long time, and he goes, I do all the body work and I'll weld it up and sand down, get it paint ready for you. And everything's thanks, buddy. Sure, buddy.
Yeah.
I just got a good feeling from the guy. So I was like, if it doesn't work out, he got $500. He probably needed it more than I did at the point anyway, that he's ripping people off. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't happen.
All right. Well, stay tuned. We'll see if it happens. See if you get stiffed or not.
We'll see. We'll know shortly.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with our top 3 death scenes in a movie.
At Admiral's Pennant, our mission is to offer the latest and refined, high-quality masculine products and services to the modern gentleman, as well as provide him with the tools and products necessary to look, act, and feel confident in his appearance and social interactions. Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
And we are back.
We are back. All right. Top 3 death scenes in a movie. Chet.
I've got an honorable mention that I'll get to as well. But it's not going to be on your guys' list. Number 3.
If there is anything from Red Dawn on this list.
Number 3. Captain Miller. Saving Private Ryan. That's Tom Hanks' character. The earn this speech. Yeah. That's a good one.
It's a good one.
That is a good one.
Number 2. Matt doesn't know about this. Boromir. When he's fighting the Uruk-hai.
Yep.
And gets all those arrows shot in him.
It's a good one.
And it's in Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
That's
The actual death scene right after that of the Uruk-hai that gets his head chopped off, where he pulls the sword, pulls himself through the sword. That's a pretty sick death scene.
They
stuck.
He's like the good guy, stuck the bad guy, and the bad guy grabs the sword and pulls the guy in closer.
that was done in another movie.
Yeah, because
Braveheart.
It's copying all this kind of
No,
stuff.
Braveheart was way before this.
Not the books.
Not the books, but the books didn't show that pulling the blade.
The books talk
Have
about
you
it.
read the book?
Good
No.
grief. All right, number 1, Daryl Bates. He's the mayor's son in Red Dawn, who swallowed the tracker.
How'd I know?
And you went off and got caught. And Patrick Swayze's going to execute him, but he can't do it. because he's his friend, but he betrayed everybody and led the Russian army straight to him. But they ended up surviving the trap. And Daryl, I mean, and Patrick Swayze couldn't do it. Old Jet, he couldn't do it. So what happened? Robert stepped up. TRBTTG, 3-round burst to the gut, brought him down, and that's when you know it's real. Like, oh, that was a heavy moment in the movie. It's just hard to top that. And then honorable mention. I think one of Clint Eastwood's best directorial performances is in a movie called A Perfect World with Kevin Costner, who kidnaps this kid. He broke out of jail, kidnaps a kid, ends up becoming a father figure to the kid while they're running from the law. And the Texas Ranger that's hunting him down is Clint Eastwood. Anyway, the end of that movie, Clint Eastwood is he felt guilty. There's a whole long story here, but he felt guilty about sending the Kevin Costner character to juvie when he was a kid. To try to get him scared straight to get back on the track, but he ended up going, instead of going to juvenile court, he got him going into prison or something, and he learned how to be even worse. So Eastwood felt bad because he pushed him down this road, so he's wanting to bring him back alive, but then there's these other cops that want to kill him, and he ended up killing him at the end, and it wrecked me when I was watching that movie. So that's another good one.
All right. Matt, what you got?
Tell me I can't have Red Dawn in my top 3.
Hey,
You knew it was coming.
I knew something was coming.
I could have done top 3 Red Dawn deaths. There's some good ones in here.
Yeah. All right. Number 3. It's tough. It's almost a tie, but I'm going to go with Braveheart.
Freedom.
All right.
As he's got his guts being pulled out and then being decapitated.
Yeah.
That's
a powerful one.
Pretty gory death.
Yeah.
And then number 2, one that stuck with me for a while, and I don't know why I always kind of think about it. When the last of the Mohicans, when the girl just commits suicide, she
jumps over the cliff. Yeah.
Instead of going with the natives.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah. Nope. And they got that theme song that plays throughout the whole movie.
I had that soundtrack.
They've got it playing.
Yeah.
She jumps. The other girl screams and turns away. Pretty epic scene in a movie.
That's an epic movie.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And the whole, like, when I'm trying to, because I know the scene, right? And all day I kept thinking Dances with Wolves. And so I'm like, what? I'm trying to think when it happened in Dances with Wolves. And I'm like, it's not even the right movie. It's and then number 1, The Passion. That crucifixion scene that, and I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Jim Caviezel.
That's right. Caviezel. Put on, makes that movie one of the greatest movies I've ever seen, but it also makes it the movie that's hardest to watch because it's so incredibly real.
Yeah.
Oh, hands down. That didn't make my list because the whole movie is his torture and death scene.
Yeah.
Like, it's the whole movie.
Mel Gibson's got a sequel.
Yep.
Coming out. The Resurrection.
Is it really coming out? Because he's been trying to make this movie.
I'm pretty sure it's like close to being in production kind of thing.
I think he's been saying that for like 10 years. We'll see.
Maybe. I don't know.
But
it's on the internet, so
I will say
yes, it is not false if it's on the internet.
strong runners up.
Okay.
300 when they're talking about the arrows that would be enough to black out
the sky.
sun, and then it happens, and he's
black
like,
out the sun. Yeah.
yeah. Then we'll fight in the shade, and then as they're dying,
Yeah.
we're going to fight in the shade, and just the whole way that the Spartan death is always an honorable
Yeah.
You know, come back with your shield or on it. You know, just their fighting society way, even though they're a bunch of gays, basically.
There could be a sequel to that.
There has been.
Has there been?
Yeah. They're on boats.
Was it Zack Snyder? Did he do it?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty sure.
It's out. 300.
Well, I just listened to his interview on Joe Rogan, and he didn't talk about a sequel. He talked about maybe doing more in-depth sequel to 300.
I'd watch that. I think the Gates of Fire, when you're talking about books, I mean, that's incredible book. And I think I've talked about it before, about it being on the Commandant's reading list as, like required reading for Marines. But it's incredible book.
Yeah.
Rise of an Empire.
Yeah, Rise of an Empire.
Nome Muro was who it was directed by. Screenplay by Zack Snyder. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. When did it come out?
A long time ago.
2014. 10 years ago.
Maybe he was talking about a prequel. I don't know. He was talking about doing more and going in depth into the nature of all the gayness and stuff in the actual army that made him what he thinks so powerful.
Nobody wants to see that.
Well, I mean, we don't. But
in the timeline of historical events, this took place before
300.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it would have to because they're all dead.
Well, it's not the same characters.
I'm just saying story wise, but
yeah.
Anyway. All right, yeah. So my top three.
It would be kind of interesting.
Speaking of, that's Xerxes in the Book of Esther in the Bible. That the 300 takes place
during that time,
during the Book of Esther timeline.
What a wild time to live.
It would have been.
Yeah. Yeah. So number 3 for me, Resident Evil, the first one. There's like 8 or 9 of them now. Either one of y'all ever see that?
Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
I've probably seen it, but I've only seen it once and I don't remember.
The laser scene. So there's 4 of them. They get trapped in this like hallway that closes off, and these lasers start.
They're in cubes, like they're squares of lasers.
No, one. Well, that's what happens at the very end of the scene.
Yeah.
So one laser comes up and chops an arm off, or chops a hand off, and then another one slices somebody's head off. And then the last one, he's like jumping over him, and you think he's going to escape, and then it turns to a grid and goes right through him. And man, when I saw that, I was like, that stuck with me for days.
Watch out for lasers.
Watch out for lasers.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. Number 2, Moran McClanaugh, the wife of William Wallace in Braveheart. So when she got murdered, that stuck with me, and that set him off. Then he murdered like all of them.
He murdered that dude like she got murdered.
Exactly. Yeah, he got his revenge real quick on him. And then number 1, Private Stanley Fish Malesh in Saving Private Ryan. He's the one that got stabbed.
That's disturbing.
He's the one that got stabbed with the bayonet.
In the room?
Yeah.
When they were hand-to-hand combat forever?
Yeah.
Dude.
Putting the bayonet in his throat.
Yep.
Or his chest.
His chest.
Yeah.
That stuck with me forever.
The sweat coming off the forehead as he's...
Yeah. That scene, like forever, stays with me. That was a powerful, powerful scene.
That's 2 from Saving Private Ryan.
And 2 from Braveheart.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Braveheart, I mean, that's one of my all-time favorite movies anyway.
A lot of good death scenes in that movie.
I remember when it was on 2 VHS tapes because it was so long.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Chet.
Good word. So the Apostle Paul towards the end of his life, and he had a widely talked about death on being beheaded in Rome. As he was nearing the end of his life and knew that outcome, scholars believe he knew that outcome was imminent, he wrote his second letter to Timothy. And in chapter 4, I'm going to start in verse 6, it says he's encouraging him, Timothy. It says, "For I am already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure has come. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing." So, whenever that death scene comes for us all, may we be in the position to say, I've fought the good fight and I've finished the race. Because I've seen in my young time on this earth, because I'm not really that old, guys.
Closer to 50 than I am.
You know, you see you see a lot of folks that finishing part. And just some people just don't continue. And I think it's really important for all of us to realize that and to know that our goal isn't just to be in the Word now and, you know, spiritually active now, but to go all the way to the end and to be able to say, I finished the race. I fought the whole time, and not just go into some kind of spiritual retirement at some point in the future to finish all the way through. And then, so when that time comes, hopefully it's not a beheading. But when that time comes, we can face it and say, yeah, I've done it. I've done it right. I've done it well.
I'm ready.
Yep.
It's good. Thank you, Chet. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.